Hello and welcome. I am Dan, your friendly fishmonger at dansfish.com. Oh, that just pushed the microphone right up into my throat. Hopefully that didn't sound too weird. And we do this live stream every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 9 Eastern for those that might be mountain challenged. If you're here for the first time, welcome. And Cody, James, welcome to the Fishmonger crew. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. We appreciate you doing that. Appreciate your support. Okay, today we're going to give a shipping report. I'll tell you how shipping's been going, what our success rate is getting alive and healthy fish to our customers. Then I'll talk about our giveaway, go over a few things here at Dan's Fish, and then we're going to geek out about fish. We're going to get to your questions and comments. So everybody take a moment to come up with a fun question or comment, or if you're struggling with a fish and need some advice, how do I breed this thing? Or if you want to know about shipping fish or keeping fish, anything with freshwater aquariums, I'm here to help. I don't know a ton about plants. I'm okay at shrimp, okay at snails, but fish, generally I can help with. So that's what we're going to do here today. So let's start with the shipping report, shall we? This is such a good one. It's so nice when it improves. Last time I reported, we were at 98.81%, and I was like, are we really going to drop below 98.8? Because 98.81 is right on the edge. But I'm happy to report that in the last couple weeks, we have improved that number to 98.87. So we're pretty close to 98.9, on our way to our goal of 99%. We want 99% of the fish that we ship to our customers to arrive healthy and happy, and the customers are excited about them. This is a weird screen to be on. I just realized I'm on that screen, like just showing you random stuff, I guess, random background stuff. So here we go. That's a little better. What a way to start. It's funny, doing this every 2 weeks, I have to admit I'm not as good at it as when I did it every week, because you just don't have the reps. Like, it's long enough that you kind of forget a couple details about the software and stuff. So yeah, forgot to click that button. So anyway, 98.87% of the fish that we have sent out over the last 12 months have arrived to our customers alive and healthy as reported by the customers. So not just healthy, we're also tracking things like, oops, we sent the wrong fish, or oops, it's healthy but it's deformed, it's got a bent spine, or we have these quality control processes to screen all that stuff out, along with health. And so health along with wrong fish, or along with sending a fish that isn't the right shape, all that stuff is included in that 98.87 number. And that's why it's harder for us now to get to 99%, because until fairly recently, we were just tracking health. We were just tracking, did they arrive alive? Did they arrive healthy? But now we're tracking all the customer problems. And so, yeah, 98.87 arrived healthy and in good shape and looked right as reported. So happy about that. Yeah. If you are an employee here at Dan's Fish and you're watching this, I just want to say thanks. I know the work is endless. I know it's hard work. But man, we're doing something awesome in the world. So thanks for working here, and thanks for helping us improve this crazy aquarium fish industry and make sure that the people that get fish actually get fish they can be successful with, so they can enjoy the hobby instead of get out of it because they're so frustrated because all their fish always die. Like, that's just the worst. So thank you for your hard work. I appreciate you. Okay, let's talk about the giveaway. So I have a couple of these left. This is a batch that we bred and raised right here at Dan's Fish. This is Pseudocrenilabrus. The species is Ruaha. It's not described. Ruaha is just where they're from. They're from the Ruaha river drainage in Tanzania, which is this. So if this is Tanzania, this is the Great Ruaha River Basin. It's a big drainage system. It's also a national park. So they come from rivers within this area here. We aren't sure the exact type locality. Well, type locality, we are not sure exactly where the fish that are in the aquarium hobby were sourced from. There is no like fish export industry from this area. So what probably happened was some killifish nut that was out collecting for Nothobronchius probably saw some cool little dwarf cichlids or something and picked some up and brought them over. You know, I don't know for sure, but we don't know the exact provenance of this species, but at least I don't. Maybe someone here does. And then these are just pictures of the Ruaha River drainage. It's just this, it's very Nothobronchius type, kind of dryish. You know, you got your wet season and your dry season. And yeah, it's going to be very different in the wet season from the dry season. The wet season, there'll be tons of food, tons of habitat, populations will explode. And then dry season, a lot of fish will die. There'll be very little food, and they're kind of just going to be waiting until the wet season comes again and trying to survive that long. So, but this species is absolutely stunning. It's a beauty. Here's a male. It's got the stripy anal fin, nice color. They're very iridescent, very active. And then here's a female, kind of plainer fins. Still has nice color on the face though, that beautiful electric blue line on the face. The two I have, I can't tell for sure, but one's definitely a male, and one I think might be female, or it could be a very subdominant male. It's smaller, and it doesn't have the color of the other one. So I think it's maybe a pair, but it could be a male and a subdominant male. Those are the two that we have that we're giving away today. Something about this fish is it's very active, and it's very feisty. These are cichlids, and they're energetic, and they are not something you want to keep with shy, docile little fish. They need to be kept with things that are equally assertive and can handle them. So these are not for your typical, you know, community aquarium. These are a more specialized, not specialized. They're actually super easy to keep and to breed and to raise. We've done it several times here. But they have an attitude. So you wouldn't want to put these with guppies. You wouldn't want to put these with, you know, some of the smaller rasboras. You want to keep these with robust, boisterous fish that can kind of keep up with them. So keep that in mind. And because of that, I'm not going to give the hashtag for the giveaway. I'm not going to tell you how to enter the giveaway until right before I give them away, because I want to give that disclaimer again. I want to make sure that people that enter the giveaway know that this is aggressive fish or semi-aggressive fish, and that they can't keep it with their nice, peaceful community tanks. So I want to give that disclaimer right before I give them away, so that people that enter don't enter and then put it in their tank with their, you know, fantail guppies and stuff. So, but anyway, it's a really cool fish. Super hardy, super easy. The only thing about them is they're a cichlid, so they have an attitude. Not as much as, you know, some of the straight up killer cichlids, but they're definitely feisty. So, all right. So since we're not going to do the hashtag right now, I'm not going to give the giveaway code right now for you guys to enter. We'll do that later. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some cool fish. Threadfin rainbows. Man, we have been on the struggle bus with these fish. Trying to find a good supply of nice, healthy ones. We have a small group right now that are nice and fat and sassy. We have about 20 of them. And so if you've been on the waiting list for those, just want to give you a heads up. We finally have some. We don't have many. And we don't have a bunch more. We have a few more in another tank that we're getting through a quarantine. But hopefully soon we can find the place where we can order them in large numbers and they're always healthy. Right now, it's taking us, we're trying different suppliers and trying to find the right one. It takes a lot of time to get these things healthy and ready to sell. So trying to find the, when they come fat and sassy, that's what I want. I want to find some where they arrive to me fat and sassy, and after a quick 2-week quarantine and everything, then I can send them on instead of, you know, a 2-month quarantine or more. So another fish that we have is these guys. These are the toothpick fish. They remind me of a stickleback and a seahorse and a pipefish maybe had a baby. They're a really neat monotypic genus. There's nothing else like them. It's the only species in the entire genus because they're so unique, and they literally look like a little toothpick. They're a micropredator. I've never got them to eat dry foods. We feed them baby brine shrimp, and we feed them small bloodworms. We were also able to put up a few more of the Phoenix rasbors for those that have been waiting for this. This is a beautiful fish. In my opinion, this is pretty much as pretty as a Chile rasbora. The difference is that while the Chile rasbora has a black stripe surrounded by red, the Phoenix rasbora has black dots, but still has plenty of red on it. So I think they're almost as pretty, if not as pretty, as a Chile rasbora. Still a very, very beautiful little Boraris species. As peaceful as it gets, top out at maybe an inch, probably just under an inch, and little micro predators. These eat really well on the Aquarium Co-op magic small fish feed and baby brine shrimp, but we also give them like monster pellets so they have something to graze on all day long. Here's a unique one. This is the golden dwarf barb. It's one you don't see all that often. It's very, very distantly related from the much larger gold barb, which is around in the hobby and has been forever. These guys, you don't see all that often. These don't get super big. I've never seen them bigger than like 1.25 inches. If they get bigger than that, I haven't seen it. They might, but I haven't seen it. Super peaceful, and not aggressive like a lot of barbs. Like these aren't even all that food aggressive. So the kind of bad rap that barbs get for being aggressive and too assertive at feeding time, that in my experience does not apply to these at all. These are small and peaceful. Then we are down to the last few of the German blue rams. I know German blue rams aren't all that rare. They're lots of the pet shops and stuff. But these are sourced from a hobbyist who bred them and raised them right here in the United States. So they're hardy. They're not going to break down on you. They haven't gone through the stress of import. And from what I've experienced, these are just much hardier and better than the industry standard ones that you'll get at most places. So we've only got 9 left. The good news is we got another batch from said hobbyist that's in quarantine, and hopefully we'll have, you know, a good number available in another, I think they've got another week or so to get through quarantine. They've been doing awesome. So unless something happens in a week or two, we should have more of these. But the ones we have now, we only have 9 left. They're starting to display and look awesome. And this is a fish that like I would buy for my mother. Like that's how confident I am in this group of fish. I've known them for a long time now. I interact with them all the time, and I think it's probably as healthy you're gonna get with the German blue rams. Here's a couple rarities to talk about. This one is quite a rarity. This is the dwarf molly, Poecilia chica. Tops out, top around 1.5 inches. So this is the smallest of the true mollies. We have a colony here that's been going for quite a while, and I'm ready to move on. I like the fish. It's awesome. It's got this gold iridescence contrasted with these nice black fins. That's what the dominant males look like. Here's another male here. Then the females, and here's a subdominant male, by the way. Not as much color. At least I think that's what it is. That's what it looks like to me. And then the females, you know, like a libear with a little bit of black on the fins. So we have a colony of them, and I'm just going to sell off the whole colony. There's a few adults in there. There's a lot of small juveniles in there. And so, yeah, it's a small colony that I've sold off almost all the adults, and I was just like, instead of spending a few months raising those again, I think I'll move on and try something else. So that's one you don't see very often at all. And then Limia perugia, I've got a whole bunch of females. So if you want to breed these in numbers, I've got 11 chunky females that will give you tons of babies. So a couple interesting things there. And then another neat live bearer that you almost never see is this one. This is Ziphophorus milleri, the Catamaco library. It's a swordtail, but it doesn't have a sword. Instead, what it has is this really neat yellow color contrasted by this black patterning, which I think makes for a very beautiful wild type Ziphophorus species. So a few of the highlights, I guess I should talk about these because people waited a long time for us to be able to get more of these. The dwarf chain loaches, we have a bunch more, and they're very small, but they're healthy. They've been doing awesome. So these are little guys, but it's a little fish. It only gets 1.5 inches, 2 inches. These are around an inch, maybe a little smaller, but they're healthy. They're doing awesome. This is a fish that we try to keep in stock all the time, but it's very seasonal. There's only a few times of the year that you can get them, and I think that's good. All these fish are brought in from the wild, as far as I know. Oh no, these ones were aquarium bred and raised. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm gonna actually get in there and make sure that's true for this batch, because I think that was maybe a previous batch we got. Hang on, I'm gonna change that to we don't know where they're from. Let's see here. Oops. Press the wrong button there. So these, I'm not going to put a source until I can verify that. Okay. We occasionally can find a few that are aquarium bred and raised, but I'm pretty sure these ones are from the wild. I think almost all of them are from the wild, and they manage the breeding season. And so there's times of the year when they just don't allow collecting, when you can't get any, which I think is really healthy. They do that with chili raspberries and other things as well to make sure that the populations stay strong and aren't overfished, which I support. I think that's awesome. Okay, let's go here to the chat. Let's get to your questions and comments. Let's geek out about some fish. Before we do that, I want to thank the moderators. You guys are awesome here time after time, making sure that the chat runs well. Oh, and moderators, I've made one change. I took off the anti-spam on the giveaway, and we've got it so that if people do enter more than once, it doesn't change anything. It's counted as once, so we don't have to monitor that anymore. If someone's silly and enters several times thinking it's going to help them, it's just not. So joke's on them. So I think that'll make it easier for the moderators to kind of help manage that. Okay. I did this earlier, but I want to say hello to Cody James, who has joined the Fishmonger crew. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel. We very, very much appreciate that. Good to have you on board. NC Pleco Cavers. For shipping bags, I want to use your method. How do I get the bags? For a smaller quantity, like 500, for example, I've recently built up a number of tequilas, the tequila, good day, Ed. Let's see here. There's a place called Uline, uline.com. You can get bags there. Those ones don't have rounded bottom corners, but you can just take your heat sealer and kind of seal off the corners. And then you have a cheap, readily available fish bag. So that's what I would suggest, uline.com. There's other places, but that's the place we get them from, and they tend to always have them. Ivan, I bought half a dozen Pseudocrenilabrus luminatus from you several months back. They promptly made 12 more, but ever since I've been losing about one a month. Otherwise, they look healthy. Any ideas? Man, I wish I could diagnose something like that for you. I know what you're talking about. That's something that does happen with fish from time to time, and it's super frustrating. I've experienced it myself. Not necessarily with that species, but that, like, why is one randomly dying? There's no signs, everyone looks good, they're eating well, they're breeding, what's going on? And so, I don't know. There's so many things that could cause that. I would just make sure they have the best environment possible. If you've never done the Aquarium Co-op medication trio, I think that's worth doing. That takes care of a lot of internal and external parasites, and can help kind of reset the fish. But man, there's been times when we've had that happen and everything looks good here, so we can't see anything wrong. We'll work them up in our laboratory here. We have a diagnostic laboratory here at Dan's Fish. And for those that don't know, we have a couple full-time people that they just work on making sure the fish are healthy all day long, looking for disease, treating disease, making sure the fish have the right nutrition, all that. But sometimes they can't find the issue. So we'll send it out to like a state diagnostic lab, like the Washington Animal Disease Diagnostic Lab at the University of Washington. And that's where all the PhDs are with all the fancy equipment. And they'll look, and often they can't find it either. So sometimes there's literally no answer that anyone can give. I've run into that a few times myself. So Ivan, I wish I could help you, but besides maybe doing like the Aquarium Co-op medication trio and seeing if there's some thing there that those meds can take care of, and then giving the best environment and food you can, I do not know. Now, sometimes we run them through our lab and we do find the issue and we can treat it. In fact, a lot of times that happens. And sometimes we run it through the state lab and they find it and we can treat it. But there are those cases where literally no one knows. The smartest people in the world who have the best equipment in the world and are the true experts and have the PhDs in fish health, sometimes they can't figure it out either. So it's just like human medicine, right? They just don't always know what's wrong. How do I message you to sell as a hobbyist? NC Pleco Cavers, if you would send an email to hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com, and we'll start the conversation. Having a hard time finding multi-shell dwellers. Me too, Greg. In fact, if anybody listening has 1 to 200 Neolamprologus multifasciatus, I would love to buy a bunch from you. I sell them for about $16 a piece. And so I can buy them from you for about $4 a piece landed. Yeah, that's a fish that I'm on the lookout for. In fact, I reached out to someone today to see if they had any. Greg Scott, oh, already got that one. Gills to Gardens. Yeah, 2 awesome hobbies. I'm rebuilding my fish room to become a bigger, better room. Would putting all the sponges in a bin with air in them all and ghost feed the bin keep the sponges alive, or should I put in fish? That could keep the sponges alive, but it's going to create a lot of rot. Personally, what I would do is I would turn that bin into a live food culture, put in maybe blackworms or ram's horn snails or scuds or a bunch of Neocaridina shrimp, something like that, so that there's actually a colony of living critters in there, and then you feed the critters. And it's, I think that's a healthier way to do it than putting food in there that's just going to rot. I mean, you can do that, but I see a big difference in my tanks. I can put in an amount of food, and if it's not eaten and rots, it creates a whole big mess. And I can put in that amount of food, and if the fish eat it and poop it out, it doesn't create nearly as much of a mess. So there's something about the animals eating that stuff that that just makes it so much less messy. Now you could also, I think this would be a nightmare. So why am I even suggesting it? Yeah, I will. I was gonna say you could do like fishless cycling, just feed a little ammonia at a time. You could, that would be cleaner than just putting food in and having it kind of rot in there. But you basically need an ammonia source is what you need to keep those sponges going. And you still have the air running in them and everything. Yeah, I would put in live foods or shrimp or something, snails, something, and just treat it like an aquarium. I would do the regular water changes. I would feed the critters and do all that. That's what I would do. Okay, next is Divide by Zero. Hey, Dan, any word on getting more Simpsonichthyes santaniae? No, not yet. That's one of those rare ones that's a lot of people want, and it's hard to find. In a sec here, when I'm done getting a little drink, I'm going to show you guys this fish. If you're unfamiliar with this fish, it's amazing. Man, every now and then you don't realize you're thirsty until you take a drink, and then it's like, holy cow, I didn't know I needed this so much. Okay, so let me see if I can Symphonictes santaniae. Let's show the people this amazing fish. Look at this beauty. These are just so pretty. Like, absolutely stunning. Killifish are where it's at. I'm telling you, there's like no end. But let's just look at Symphonictes as a genus. Wait, what did I do? Okay. Like, look at all these awesome fish. Was this Magnificus? That's another beautiful one. Oh, this is cool. This is Spectralebius, but still another just beautiful one. They just keep going. Like, look at these. Killifish are something else. Santaniae, Zonotus. I mean, I could do this all day. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I actually do. So those are annual killifish from Brazil, from South America. And then for those that don't know, these are the ones from Africa. Same basic reproductive strategy. And just like, look at this. Each one prettier than the last. Like, yeah, killifish are amazing. So right now I don't have any more, and I don't know when the breeder will have more. They just don't have them that often. Divide by 0. When they do, you know, I'm a killifish geek. It's hard to keep me from buying them. Okay. How do you say this one? Fakuduke? I don't know. What are your tricks for keeping panda loaches and Aromizon loaches happy? Best recommendations, I think, is what you're asking. Yeah. So first of all, a mature aquarium. Lots of biofilm. If you have wood in there, like driftwood and stuff that's, you know, gradually decaying, that's awesome. Bunch of rocks. A lot of hardscape with stuff growing on it. Biofilms and surface algae. That gives them an amazing start, and it gives them something to nibble on between feedings. So that, good oxygenation, if you can provide a strong current, that's awesome. But a sponge filter can be enough as long as it's really going. And I think those are the best ones. The other thing I would do is I would feed live and frozen foods for the first couple weeks while they're settling in and getting used to the aquarium. Frozen bloodworms are great for this. Baby brine shrimp if they're smaller fish. And that just kind of gets them through the transition phase and gets them to start eating. It might not be the best long-term diet, but once you see them eating pretty good, then I would transition them to things like Bacter AE is a great thing to feed because it kind of coats the surfaces, or sinking pellets, sinking algae wafers, that kind of thing. So for me, it's more about the environment. It's about an environment that they can eat. You want an environment that they can chew on all day. That's what the wood and the rocks and everything are for. So that kind of really helps. Nature Nerd, are all freshwater gobies climbers? Climb the waterfalls in the wild? Oh, there's so many bajillions of species of gobies that I don't know that they're all climbers. But I believe it's true that all true gobies, have a fused pelvic fin that forms a suction cup, and so they can climb. But the ones that are truly known for climbing are Stiphodons, Sicyopus, Sicyopterus, Lentippus, those guys. I don't know if your average bumblebee goby is going to do a whole lot of climbing. But they do have the suction cup, so I suppose they could. But what they don't have is the suctiony mouth. So they can stick on stuff with their pelvic fin, but they can't do what the other ones. So let's just show you this. So bumblebee goby. Okay, cute little guys. Cute little guys, right? Really neat little predators. Fused pelvic fin, but the mouth itself can't suck. This is a predator's mouth. This is a mouth that wants to go grab stuff and swallow it. And it's upward oriented. So they can stick to stuff with their pelvic fins, but they can't stick to stuff with their mouth. Whereas, let's look at Pseudocrenilabrus. Okay, what we've got on these, let's see if we can find, that's super pretty, so let's use that one for example. It doesn't show the mouth as well. Here you go. Is you've got a fused pelvic fin here, and then you have a downward facing mouth here that can suck onto stuff. Stiphodon. Same with the Stiphodons. Fused fins, and very, very sticky mouth. So what these guys do is they'll stick on with their bottom fin, and then they'll grab on with their mouth, and they'll kind of push up and push up, push up, push up. They have 2 points of contact, so they can really climb. Whereas the other ones, they'll stick onto something, but they can't then grab on with their mouth to kind of pull and push up. So that's the kind of locomotion that we're talking about there. Kate Henry, my Duplicaris Cory fry hatched. Oh, that's awesome. Corydoras duplicaris, or whatever the genus is now, is awesome. And I don't see yolk sacs anymore, but they don't seem to be eating baby brine shrimp or the Co-op Magic Small Fish food. Do you have any advice? No, I mean, baby brine shrimp's kind of where it's at, in my experience. I guess you could try micro worms. Do you not see the bellies? So baby brine shrimp's usually an orange or a pink color. If you feed it and then come back in a few hours, do the baby cories have orange or pink bellies? Because if they do, they're eating. Otherwise, I mean, it sounds like you're doing the right thing to me. Maybe microworms would be something to try, but yeah, the Co-op Magic Small Fish food should fall to the bottom and be small enough they can eat it. The baby brine shrimp. So, Kay Henry, I'm not sure why they're not eating. Hopefully they are, and you just don't realize that they are. But I mean, my best general advice for baby cories, or any other baby fish for that matter, is lots of food, which you've got food, and clean water. So feed frequently and change water frequently. What you want is food in front of the fish all the time, but you don't want any food they don't eat to rot and cause water quality issues. And you don't want their poop to rot and cause water quality issues. So food in front of the fish almost all the time if you can, and clean water that's the equation. That's what we want to do. Do any female guppies look good, or are they all boring? Well, Bumblebee. Oh wait, did you say guppies? Yeah. So let's see here. There's let's look at the mosaic guppies. So some forms of the red mosaic guppies have some blue in the fins. See this? Like it's an extended fin with some blue. They're not all like that, but some of them do. That's the platinum red mosaic guppy female. That's pretty nice. Is it these guys where the females are pretty? Yeah. So yellow cobra guppies, this is a male. In the females, look at this. Nice long extended fins, beautiful, nice blue coloration, and they're big, they're extended. So are they as pretty as the males? No, that's just not how nature works. But there are some domestic strains where I would say there's some color on the females, and I think some of them look pretty good. But in general, no. Most of them are drab and pretty much brown, although some of them have some decent color in the fins. Cody, I just got 2 pairs of common cribs for my LFS. Oh, you're gonna have so many babies. What would be some good tank mates for them? Currently in with 9 black mollies, 8 danios, 3 giant danios, and 6 cories. Well, I like to do things different than a lot of people. Personally, what I would do if that was my tank, and I don't know what size tank we're dealing with, but is I would get probably more of those fish. I would definitely get a lot more cories so that they have a nice big group to gang around with. When you do that with cories, you're going to start seeing a lot more confidence, a lot more behavior. They do things as a big group that they just don't do in small groups. So my preference would be I would get more of the fish you already have, so there's a good sized group of each one. That's how I like to keep fish. But if you're wanting really to keep more species, you want more variety of fish, then, oh man, you could get so many things with those. Okay, let's just take a quick field trip and see. Sometimes I just have to look. There's so many things you could put with those. I think lemon tetras would go great. I think white clouds would go well. I think Congo tetras would be fine in that tank. So would Emperor Carry tetras. Harlequin rasbors, I think they'd be fine because you don't have too many danios that they'd be out competed. I'd probably do some kind of loaches, like yo-yo loaches or something like that, maybe. Diamond tetras would do well. Oh yeah, these guys, dwarf neon rainbow fish. This is a totally, these can hang with those species, and it's a totally different kind of fish. Looks different, has a different cadence than your danios and stuff. So this is actually, I think, the one I would recommend the most highly, the dwarf neon rainbow fish, if you're truly wanting a different species. But if this is my tank, I kind of fill it out with, I don't know, I like large numbers, a few species, but large numbers of each one. That's my jam. Not saying it's right, like everyone should do what they enjoy. Like if you enjoy something different, that's great. For my fun, a couple weeks ago, I got my wish list alert that you had the blue eye Congo tetras in stock. I was so excited. However, they vanished from the site quick. Did they really sell that fast? Yeah, I think within minutes. Yeah, sometimes there's fish that we literally have hundreds of people waiting for, and we get them when we can, and sometimes we can only get a few, and they sell out very quickly in cases like that. And this is one of those cases. Now, for my fun, we do have more that we're bringing through quarantine, so hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll have more that we can list for sale. But yeah, that's for those that are wondering, that's Phenacogrammus aurantiacus. The species is from Lafini River. That's the collection point that For My Fun is talking about. Oh, they're gorgeous. Such a neat fish. Yeah, so if it was a couple weeks ago, yeah, I mean, I think it was minutes, literally, before they sold out. Fish Hunter, have you listed that your fish came from the Congo? Yeah, I've listed a lot of them, and we've already sold out from a lot of them, Fish Hunter. They went pretty fast, but we do have some more in quarantine, and we'll keep listing them as they become available. We do have some moon tetras. Let's see if I can find, here's where I want to be. The blood cap. Okay, so blood, these guys, these are a neat tetra from the Congo. They get this blood cap, a bright, is it bright? A blood red cap on them, I guess you'd say, up here in front of the dorsal. And they also get this black mark here. These pictures aren't showing their full color. They get this blazing white along the edges of the fins. They're actually a really handsome fish. There's a closely related one that, do I have a good picture of? I didn't really get a great picture of it. It's so hard sometimes. Let's see if we can see if I can show you, if we can find a good picture of this genus. I'll give you an idea. Yeah, that's a better picture. It's got some nice iridescence on it, some nice reds. You can see the iridescence on this one. That's tiny, so it's hard to see. Man, pictures just don't do a good job of picking up all the iridescence of these fish. But if you saw them in person, you would be like, those are beautiful once they're full grown and colored up. But the pictures just don't do it. Hey, Priscilla, good to hear from you. Just moved, same county. Miss you, Priscilla. Yeah, I hope you're doing awesome. Hope you're still doing art. Hope you're loving life. Hope your kid's doing well. And Priscilla, it's just really good to hear from you. I'm glad you reached out. Hopefully one day I'll be back down in Colorado and I can actually see you again. That would be awesome. I haven't been down in a while though. We have a driver now that goes down, which is great. It saves me 2 days every week. So that's awesome. I did have to run down a few weeks ago to pick up the import from the Congo, but that was a oops. Found out at like 3 p.m. that they're arriving at 9, run down, grab them, and run straight back and pull an all-nighter. So I had to get the fish and get them right back. And we had expected them on Wednesday. At least that's when I thought they were coming. But I got a notification Monday afternoon that's like, they'll be there tonight. I was like, oh boy. So I didn't really have time to, look anyone up. Hey, Mike Black, I may have a large number of multis for you. Mike, that would be awesome. If you do, email us hello@dansfish.com, HELLO@dansfish.com. Let us know how many you have, how big they are, and we'll send you some information and get going from there. I'm kicking myself for not having space when you had them. Please find more, says Divide by Zero. Yeah, I'm always working on finding more of those, for sure. Blake, any word on more Stiphodon anniae or Stiphodon rudularius? I just missed out on them this time. Also looking for half-beaks. Yes, we have both those species that we're working on. Once they're through quarantine, we'll get some more listed. But yeah, I've got a tank of rudularius and I have more anniae. And they're doing awesome. So unless something unforeseen happens, I think they'll be available in the next week or two. And half-beaks, I have some half-beaks, but I just got them, and they're the Tanga half-beaks, and I don't have many, and we'll see how they do. Sometimes it takes me quite a while to get those ready for sale. Dan, the khaki nurse. Dan, hello! Good to hear from you. A few days ago on a podcast, Corey said basically killifish are no longer a thing. Well, maybe not for Corey. There definitely are for me. But, I mean, Corey's got a point. The American Killifish Association is... When I joined in the 90s, I thought it was just vibrant and active and doing all kinds of stuff. But with the advent of the internet, it kind of changed a little bit how killifish are sourced, and that had an impact, I think, on the AKA. And so I think it's true that some parts of the killifish hobby are, the American Killifish Association, I love. I grew up on that thing, and right now I think it's in a, I don't want to, see, there's people that are volunteering, making that thing run, working hard, not getting paid, and just doing it for the love of it. And I don't want to like poo-poo their efforts. I'm sure they're doing really hard work and stuff. But what used to be with the killifish hobby is you couldn't get them anywhere hardly. The only way you could get almost all killifish was through the American Killifish Association, because they would release a monthly business newsletter where everyone that had killifish available for sale or for trade would send them to the AKA, and the AKA would list that. And you'd have pages and pages of different species of killifish available to buy or to trade. Then Aquabid came along, and people were like, I'm just going to list them on Aquabid. And the internet kind of became a place where people could get killifish. And I think that had a big impact on the AKA, because now you didn't have to go to the AKA to get all these species. You could find them online. And so I think that kind of changed the dynamic there. I really hope the AKA finds a way to come back bigger and better than ever, and vibrant and awesome. But there are parts of the killifish hobby, I think, that are struggling. Yeah. Cool videos, like, okay, so more on that. So I used to attend the Bay Area Killifish Association's West Coast weekend. It would be a killifish convention. It would be a show, and they would have speakers and an auction and all that stuff, right? Your typical killifish, I don't know, convention, or what would you call it, party? And it was in the Bay Area in California. And I think there would have been a couple hundred people there. Something like that. Like, there was a lot of people and a lot of fish, and it was awesome. And now I think that the AKA's national convention probably draws less people than West Coast Weekend used to draw. And West Coast Weekend was just a small little, like, affiliate club of the AKA at large. So something's happened there. And yeah. But the killifish themselves are still as awesome as ever. Cool videos from a cool guy. The Liberty Molly is doing much better. Oh, I'm so glad. My ratio is off. Unfortunately, lost the female Liberty Molly due to the male stressing her out. Hey, I'm glad to hear that it's doing better, though. That's good. Chesapeake crustaceans. The spotted Congo puffers that came in a tad cool are all doing great. Yeah, I mean, those, I'm glad to hear that. Those are tough as nails, especially when they're in good, healthy shape like that. So I'm glad to hear they're doing great. Keep an eye out for ick. When puffers get cool, they can develop ick. So I keep an eye out for that. But yeah. All right. So scrolling here. Wait, chat jumped weird. Killies always rule, says Patrick. AKA and Chicago Killifish Association are and we're great. Definitely the extreme aquarium keepers. Yeah, again, I'm not trying to throw any shade on the AKA. I respect it. I grew up on it. I love it. I have a huge soft spot in my heart for it. But, I mean, in the 90s, man, it was popping. Best way to get rid of bladder snails, empty their bladder. I think that assassin snails are a great way to do that. They'll hunt them down and eat them. You can try some different loaches. Those dwarf chain loaches are probably a good option for that. The dwarf red-tailed eels like to eat bladder snails. So I would get a predator. That's how I would do it. W Robo, I just converted my 75-gallon cichlid tank over to a community tank. It's already mildly overstocked, but has live plants and overfiltered. How many cories should I add, and can I mix them? I don't, like, just footprint-wise, in a 75-gallon, I would go with like 24 cories. But when you say it's overstocked and everything, like, I don't know. If you can manage the waste and keep the water quality good, I'd probably put 24 in that tank, personally. And personally, I wouldn't mix them. I would just put in one species, because cories like to be in big groups with their own species. The more, the merrier. So that's what I would do. But can you mix species? Sure. But cories want to be in large numbers of their own kind, so I would give them that as much as possible. That's my preference. Hey, there's Reptiles and Aquatics. Hello, Bob. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for throwing down a Pimpy Longstocking Cheerleader super chat. It never gets old. Not for me, anyway. I'm a Pimpy fan. Okay. Do you know of any disease that affects multiple species of Danio but nothing else? Causes bad pine coning, but also weight loss. Nothing else in the tank ever gets it. I don't know of like a Danio specific disease, no. Now, it could definitely be that it's something that everybody has, but the other fish are able to counteract it, and their immune systems are able to, handle it. But I don't know. Pine coning, man, dropsy's the worst. I'm so sorry. So some of them get really skinny and some of them dropsy out, huh? No, I mean, I don't know of that disease. I would recommend, though, if you're suffering from a mystery disease, the Aquarium Co-op Med Trio gets a lot of stuff, and it's worth doing. Beto Great Lakes. If I want to bring my pH down to accommodate a wild betta, would you recommend adding OR to my tap? What I would recommend is not bringing your pH down. I would recommend softening your water, which the RO will do. Wild type bettas breed just fine in soft water without it being super acidic. So that's what I've experienced. I've bred many species of wild type bettas. There might be some out there that do need truly acidic water. But it seems to be the hardness that is the issue with breeding the wild type bettas. So I would just bring down the hardness. RO will do that. I would not then add a bunch of acid or something. You could add leaves or driftwood or something botanical to try to kind of naturally take it down. But I don't think it's necessary if you're trying to breed the bettas. Hey, Divide by Zero bred some Latacara. I wasn't prepared for how small the fry were. They are too small for baby brine shrimp. Would you recommend in the future? I would get an infusoria culture going, a paramecium. If you can do rotifers, that would be awesome. That's quite a project. Keeping a rotifer cultures going is probably even more complex than keeping an aquarium going, but it's amazing food. So that's the kind of stuff I would do. Alrighty, Anna Banana. Hey Anna, good to hear from you. I posted last week, but don't think you saw it. Would there be a way to add a fish you never had, for example, honey gourami, to the wish list? No, right now, only things in the system are able to be added. And the reason is you need an identifier for the code to know what it is. And if it's not in the system as a certain thing, and people just add things, the computer, if you can have one fish that's called 12 different names, right? And many different variations of those things and spelled differently and all that stuff. And so it wouldn't be something that could be automated right now. Now we could maybe require the scientific name, and that would work for some species, but it wouldn't work for, where that breaks down is there's all the domesticated species. Like guppies are all the same scientific name, but there's how many bajillions of different breeds of guppies out there. So it's a difficult code to crack, and there's so many high priorities of stuff we need to do software wise that it's going to be a while before we get to that issue. So right now it's just a complicated issue. In the amount of time and effort and money it would take to solve, right now is better put in other areas. So I wish there was a simple way to do it. Okay, hang on, chat jumped again. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Ivan, thanks. I have medicated them with the True as well as tried some botanicals, no luck. Okay, so the one thing that the main thing, I would say, the most common thing that fish can have that the Med Trio doesn't get is roundworms. So if you tried the Med Trio and it didn't have the effect, then it might be worth treating for roundworms as well, because they're very common. Like around 20% of the fish, I believe, that we've screened in the aquarium fish industry have roundworms. And so that would be, I think, for me, the next step. If I tried Prosi and Metro and ICX and an antibiotic and there was still a problem, then I would go for the roundworms. So levamisol is a good one for that, and it might be helpful to try that or some other medication for the roundworms. What is this? L2 times clutch. So I've got a male black guppy, been laying on his belly for a week or two. Oh, but if bullied or wants to, he'll swim, right? But we'll go back to laying down on the bottom. Swim bladder? Probably. It's probably swim bladder. Could also be just feels darn sick. And swim bladder's fine, but it just hangs out down there. But with swim bladder, in order to actually swim in the water column, he's going to swim differently than a fish normally does. He'll probably have his head pointed up and his tail down at around a 45 degree, not quite. And he'll have to work really hard to get going. So if you don't see that, then it's more likely that he just feels really ill than that it's swim bladder. All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and give away some Pseudocrenilabrus from Ruaha, this beautiful dwarf cichlid. Absolutely stunning, easy to breed, easy to raise, easy to keep. The ones that our last batch were ones we bred and raised right here at Dance Fish. The only thing I'll say about them is they're a cichlid. They're feisty. So before I do the giveaway, I want to make sure you know these are not a fish that you can take and just put in your peaceful community aquarium. If you put them in with your guppies or your small rasboras and other, delicate fish, it's going to be a problem. But if you have a tank with semi-aggressive fish, maybe some botia loaches, maybe some assertive barbs, maybe rainbow fish, stuff like that, larger and quick and can hold its own, then these will be amazing for you. But if you don't know anything about cichlids in their personalities, and you don't have a tank that's separate that you could keep these in by themselves, then it's probably better if you don't try to get these, because you might have a problem if you put them in with the wrong fish. But for a lot of people that are familiar with cichlids and their attitudes, or have a spare tank that they can put these in and so they aren't going to bother any other fish, these are cool. There's at least one male. I think there's a female in there. It's a lot smaller and not as colorful, so I think it's a female. It could be a subdominant male. I don't know for sure. But if after all that, you still think you can give a good forever home to these guys, then to enter the giveaway, it's hashtag cichlid time, hashtag CICHLIDTIME, no spaces, caps don't matter. And if you enter that hashtag cichlid time into the chat, then you'll automatically be entered to win these really rare, neat little dwarf cichlids that are super easy and super colorful. Something neat about the Pseudocrenilabrus genus is these were some of the first aquarium fish to ever be kept, ever, like back in the 1880s. These were being kept when paradise fish and white clouds and stuff like that came on the scene. So these are OGs of the aquarium fish hobby. Pseudocrenilabrus have been around forever. In fact, they for a long time were the only mouth brooding cichlid in the hobby, and they were just called mouth brooders, because even though there's hundreds of species of mouth brooders, this was the only one that was available for a long time. So imagine that, like back in the 1880s, that's how hardy this fish was. They could get them from Africa to Europe in the United States successfully back in the 1980s, or 1880s, I mean, like on a steamship. No aquarium, no water pump, no air pump. Oh, maybe a water pump. Probably not, though. It'd be like a steam-powered water pump. Like, no specialized equipment. And these paradise fish, white clouds, a few other species were tough enough, goldfish, to be established in the hobby, in the West, if you will. And so, really neat genus. Hey, Denise, thank you so much for gifting the 5 Dancefish memberships. That's awesome. Appreciate the support, and congrats to the 5 folks that benefited from that generosity and are now members of the Dancefish Aquarium, the Dancefish YouTube channel. Appreciate it very, very much. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and do this drawing, and the winner is Tracy Ballard. Tracy, congratulations, you have won maybe a pair, I hope a pair, 2 Pseudocrenilabrus species from Ruaha, the Rio in Tanzania. You have 2 minutes to chime in. Say something in the chat to claim your winnings. When this timer reaches 2 minutes, if you haven't said something in the chat by then you're disqualified. Then we have to draw somebody else. So sometime before that little timer reaches 2 minutes, say something in the chat. You can say hello, you can say yippee, you can say heck yeah, cichlid time, like whatever you want. But you got to say something to claim you're winning. Okay, while we're waiting for that, have you ever contemplated offering a Skittles combo of Neocaridina shrimp for sale? Asked Donald Hall. I've thought about it, but for health reasons, right now I don't have one. What that would mean is going out and buying a group of red cherry shrimp, a group of blue shrimp, a group of yellow shrimp, a group of green shrimp, like all these different colors, and putting them together in a tank pretty much, right? And I don't like the idea of mixing all those different batches of shrimp together, because if one of them has a disease, they're going to spread it around to all the others. What we have thought of doing is, if we have a few shrimp that are just a little odd, right? Or just a few left and we want to refill the tank or whatever, taking those out and putting them in a tank that becomes the shrimp, like random shrimp tank. So that's maybe something we could do, but the truth is we don't have a whole lot of random shrimp that we need to put somewhere. And so I've thought about it, but so far it's not, kind of hasn't materialized. But the idea of like a beautiful tank full of multicolored shrimp is appealing. Yeah. The other issue is when those Skittles shrimp start breeding, often they're going to produce like, brown babies, which most people don't want, like a natural colored kind of brown shrimp. They want the bright blue, the bright yellow, the bright red, that kind of thing. So my best advice right now is, if you want Skittles, then buy several different colors from us and put them in the tank together. That's my best advice. But from a distributor side, there's a lot of risk when you're doing that in large numbers like we would be doing. Hey, there it is. Look at that. In 47 seconds, Tracy Ballard chimed in and said, wow, I can't believe I won. Awesome, I am here. Tracy, congratulations. You've won. If you would send us an email to hello@dancefish.com, that's HELLO@dancefish.com. Let us know you're the winner. We need your first name, your last name, your mailing address. And once we have that, we will get that all put together and schedule a shipping date with you. Congrats. Thanks for playing. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I appreciate you. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and shut the live stream down. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Same bat time, same bat channel, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 9 Eastern for those who are mountain challenged. And before we go away, I want to thank our moderators for volunteering their time. I appreciate you showing up and making sure the chat runs smoothly. Mwah. Thank you so much for that. This will be a much different experience if you guys weren't there doing what you do. So I appreciate it very, very much. I want to thank all the members of the Dancefish YouTube channel. Thanks for joining up. Thanks to everyone that gave away memberships. That's super generous. Thanks to everyone that threw money at us in the form of super stickers or what have you. We appreciate that. It's never required, but every little dollar is appreciated. Thanks for your support. If you were active in the chat, thanks for participating. If you were not active in the chat, we still love you. Hail the Lurker Nation. If you're watching the replay, hello from the past. And if you're listening to the podcast, thanks for listening. Again, in 2 weeks, I'll see you again. Till then, I really hope you have an excellent, I don't know, life. See ya. Bye-bye.